How did you get over suicidal thoughts? Serious? For me it was with support of a loving family, capable psychiatrists managing my antidepressant medications, and a good therapist practicing acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, which helped give me the tools to cope with and mitigate depression. I would strongly suggest seeking professional help to anyone in a similar situation. I didn't care about anything. Now I play games, and want to be a game designer, so I'm fine. I realized how much I still wanted to experience. There was a lot of death in my family when I was young, and that mixed with not getting along with my remaining family and the sobering knowledge that we were barely floating along put me to the edge. I was trying to learn knots in my bedsheets. But at some point I othered my desire for everything to end. I felt that if I gave up, some toxic force would only grow stronger, that would just make the world a worse place. That giving up would mean all of my goals would remain unfinished. Citalopram. It's an antidepressant. I still have them from time to time, but what keeps me from acting on them is that I know what it would do to my family. My mom has already buried 2 of her children. It would destroy my husband. Most of all, I don't want my son growing up without his mother. Thinking some people really love me and will be devastated if I die. Also, the thought of my parents burying me. I love them so much, I would not put them in that situation. I thought about the trouble I would cause for everyone left behind and how fixing my problem through suicide would mean they would have to deal with the aftermath and the loss for the rest of their life. When you are suicidal, putting things into perspective like this really helps. Someone will have to deal with not only finding you but disposing of you, as well as breaking the news to people you know if that is the case. It's not really fair to force other people to deal with your suicide even if it is temporary for them and possibly their job. I felt really selfish for even thinking about it, but my depression gets that bad at times. I know some people aren't so lucky to have people to live for. I feel really fortunate. You okay, Op? It just doesn't make sense to me, really. I believe that suicide is selfish and wasteful. I have something that I can contribute, so why should I throw it away? Why should I trash the entire realm of what my life could be just to make it a financial and emotional burden to the people I actually care about? I am not selfish or wasteful, and I am not taking the easy way out. That may sound a little harsh, but that has always worked for me. The truth is, you probably won't find what you need in yourself, but by finding things you love outside of yourself. So don't keep looking to yourself if you can't find a reason, look to the people around you. Just find any reason to push through. Any little reason. Some days are harder than others, but it will get better even if it's years later. It will, and you will be glad you stayed in Earth. I'm too scared of the pain and not knowing what happens afterwards 100%. I convinced myself that I was a horrible person for wanting to die because it was selfish and would hurt other people. I promised myself that I wouldn't kill myself as long as there were people I cared about who would be upset if I died. Eventually, through medication, therapy, and changing situations, I was able to enjoy my life. The feelings sometimes come back, but I'm better equipped to deal with them now. I sometimes think back to my 14-year-old self who first made that promise, and wish I could thank her for making that decision, because there's so much I would have missed out on if I had killed myself. I stopped caring about myself and started caring about others. Honestly, I didn't really get over being suicidal until I realized that it was my choice to get better or worse. I can't say that I'm way better than I was before, but it's the little bits of progress that help me hate my life less. Humor. I used to try all the usual things, thinking about how everyone would miss me, try to get more enjoyment out of life as a whole, etc. But these things don't work on the severely depressed, which seems to be news to a lot of people. But emo, there's nothing more freeing than just being able to joke about it. Good Lord, this service makes me want to off myself more than I already do. Everyone laughs, I get some back pats, people wanna hear what I say next, and it makes me feel great having just made everyone laugh. Not only all of this, but I managed to get such a negative thought out of my head. Will it come back? Absolutely. But I cut down the Leviathan and have some time to enjoy the spoils while it prepares to strike again. I still have them, don't think they ever really go away. Depression is like drugs and alcohol. You aren't miraculously cured and never worry about it again, it's a daily struggle. I insulate myself against it. I have people and animals that depend on me being here every day. They're the reason I go on. I'm someone who gets depression every few years or so. Sometimes it starts after a stressful life event, sometimes it comes out of nowhere. Mental illness runs in my family pretty heavily. I know a lot of people say that, but I mean it, mostly things like OCD and anxiety. We're a fun, stressed out group, and my thing is depression. Whenever it happens though, I realize that it's happening and take control of it before it spirals. Sometimes I go to the doctor for meds if I don't feel better after a few weeks. Meds are wonderful and don't be afraid to try them if you haven't yet. So yeah, whenever I have suicidal thoughts, they're not really suicidal in the sense that I'm actually thinking or planning something. It's more like, if this could all stop now, that would be stellar. I just get a handle of it and make myself busy with things like baking and cleaning. Working with my hands is very therapeutic to me. Therapy and medication, honestly. I slowly stopped believing in an afterlife, what death is like if we don't have a soul, combined with reducing some pressures in life, got me away from those thoughts. I am very much not over them. I'm 23 now, and I've had major depression since I was about 12, I just didn't know it until maybe 3 years ago when I finally got help. All the adults in my life insisted that adolescence is hard for everyone, girls especially. I think the hard part is that I started self-harming when I was 18, and by the time I was 21 I was cutting my legs on a daily basis and thinking about death. I quit college and moved home. I haven't cut in about a year now, but it's still the first thing I think of whenever I get down. I don't because I promised my husband, and the one time I relapsed really broke his heart. I think of death constantly, and I realized recently that I have a very flippant view on life in general. Like, what if I don't wake up? So what? I am going to make a journal for myself, filled with all the things I need to hear. One of those things is this: when I am kind of low, my emotions lie to me. When I am really low or off my medication, then my logic lies to me as well. Ask for help. I am so fortunate to have a loving husband, family, and good friends. Whenever I think about death, I try to counter it with the image of myself being dragged away from my husband. What would I be doing? Kicking and screaming, because I have so much left to say to him. Having that image in my head helps. Also, I am doing all right at the moment. Christmas is a difficult time of year for everybody. If you read this and need someone to listen, I'm here. I always thought about the people around me and couldn't bear the thought of hurting them. I guess that, and pure stubbornness, kept me going long enough to find a small grip on my life that has given me a little hope for taking control. To be honest, if you suffer from chronic depression, the thoughts never truly go away. My best friend killed himself. I'd thought about it before and planned it, but felt too guilty about what it would do to my family. I hovered on the brink for years and talked to my friend about it a lot, and he talked about his depression. Once he killed himself, it changed everything for me. I'd experienced loss before, but losing someone to suicide destroyed me in a way I'd never experienced. Suicide is no longer an option for me. If I feel it coming on, I go to the doctor, I talk to someone, I get help. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Whenever I have really dark thoughts, such as suicide, or hurting others, I play out the scenario in my head, when I'm alone just to be safe, and I picture how it will turn out. It always ends up in someone close to me being hurt badly, or my life being ruined beyond redemption. Then I come back to reality and see where I actually am, and end up being glad I didn't do whatever stupid thing I was thinking about. For me, it's a couple of factors: not wanting to put my family through the grief they would experience, and not knowing what, if anything, happens when you die. Like, my depression can really bring me down and make me hate life and want to not exist, but at least I know what struggles I face in life. I have no idea what struggles there might be after death. What if Catholicism is correct and you go to hell for committing suicide? Or what if you're stuck wandering the world forever? Or what if there's nothing afterward at all? It's too stressful to think about. I'd rather suffer on earth.